Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today the new trailer for Mario and Luigi 6 just dropped, and I think it's an interesting departure from the series in many ways, and I just wanted to give some quick thoughts on what I think it improves upon the standard formula of the series, and just general my opinions on it. So yeah, let's get started. Now, first off, I'd like to make a point to talk about the art style. Now, it looks very good. I always imagined the Mario and Luigi on Switch to look very similar to the Mario and Rabbids games or Mario 3D World, in that the very shiny, plastic, toy-like feel that makes the characters not really look realistic, but still looks vibrant in a 3D art style. But instead, they seem to have gone for a more shell-shaded look, reminiscent of Wind Waker, for one, and I, for one, quite like it. There are some interesting black outlines that you can see on leaves that we'll talk about once we get to see a character model, but I just think it's an interesting direction to take the art style in this series. Now on to Luigi over here. You can see that they have, the characters and most objects in the game have a, distinct black outline. Now, that's another interesting thing, because, the black outline was dropped ever since Bowser's Inside Story. From all the games from Dream Team onward, there were no more black outlines. It's, an interesting, idea, certainly, because once you make games in 3D, the art style pops enough, you don't really need an outline to highlight their definition even more. However, recently, makes me think of the Return to Dreamland remake. Already had the black outlines, but it was in 3D. So I think that this is an idea that could work. It does make it look very distinctive and almost like a 3D comic book, as the Return to Dreamland Deluxe looked. So I think it's a very interesting idea. It certainly has merit.
Mario! Luigi?
I want to go back like one frame. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. So, here's another interesting thing. So, one of the complaints levied at Dream Team was how the characters lost some of their expressiveness, along with losing their black outline and going from 2D sprites to 3D stereoscopic sprites. Another interesting thing they did is they made the characters more, one could say, normalized. They were less, the characters became slightly less expressive, and while certainly Paper Jam helped in some aspect, it still looked flatter, one could say, than the expressiveness of the previous games in the series. And here you can say there seems to be an intense focus on the expressiveness of the characters. I don't know if this is just a cutscene or like if they have the same expressiveness in-game, but from how it looks, the new 3D models look just as expressive as the original 2D sprites, which I think is something that's very difficult to do. It's much harder to make 3D as expressive as 2D, so props for that much, at the very least. Yeah, there's more of that expressiveness.
Huh?
I believe this is a callback to the falling bridge scene from Dream Team, you know, the one.
Luigi! Yeah!
And you'll notice something from this opening segment. The bros, they get transported on their adventure. They, for some reason, they open a portal. They unlock a new Wind Waker-like world. I don't know what it is with all of these Nintendo Switch games and trying to take after Wind Waker. Like, first it was the Origami King's entire chapter dedicated to Wind Waker, and now we have an entire Mario and Luigi game dedicated to Wind Waker. It's like, Nintendo, just release Wind Waker on the Switch. People would buy that up like crazy, especially if it was in a collection with Twilight Princess. I have no idea why they don't do it, but you'll notice one thing. The bros got transported to this new world, and throughout this entire trailer, you'll notice a distinct lack of someone. That's right, for the time being, there doesn't seem to be any Starlo in this game. Let's see if they can keep that up. Yeah, the new font looks so good. It's such a faithful recreation. And now, yeah, now you can see how the actual gameplay looks. And yes, these still very much looks like, it looks very similar to the Link's Awakening remake and the new Princess Zelda game that I might talk about later. I have no idea, but yeah, I'm very excited for that too. But it's definitely looks like it could be a remake of an original 2D game. But yeah, just the outlines and so much more expressiveness to the, well, not expressiveness, but so much more definition to all of the characters. This the ground looks really shiny, but not overly plastic. Like it doesn't really look it doesn't really look, it looks much better than the like Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl remake, which is certainly a plus. That's always the issue when you develop these sorts of 2D inspired 3D games, is that they just look bad. But in this case, no, not at all. It looks incredibly well defined. Just the water, too. Like, obviously, it would take a lot to beat Origami King's water. That water was just stunning. But this water, too. Like, it's so nice to look at. Just the way the sun glistens on the top. How the rope bridge is slightly uneven. The rope on wood bridge is just slightly uneven to make it look all the more realistic. It's so nice to look at. And now we get into our first look at battles and how the action commands work. So I believe this is a regular jump, and they just added so much more expressiveness. Like, they added so much more definition to the animation, and it seems like now there's even more action commands. I don't know if this is a bros attack or if it's just a regular attack. But yeah, Mario jumps, and then you get an extra input from Luigi to do even more damage. So like I said, could be some sort of bros attack. I would doubt it. I mean, I hope that the bros attacks are better than they were in Superstar Saga. They're not just variations of abilities you already had. That would be a little bit disappointing. I always like the bros attacks in Dream Team and Paper Jam the most, because they were the most impactful. They felt the most satisfying to pull off, especially when you can do a ton of damage with them. But yeah, this looks, even if it is just a bros attack, it still looks excellent. And just that impact, like, I cannot imagine what looking at this on a TV would be like. It would be so awesome. And the text looks really nice too. And again, would you look at just how they play with perspective on this tower? It gives me a lot of I forget what it was called. Not Star Hill. Star Hill is from Partners in Time. Whatever the star-themed place was in Paper Mario 64. The perspective reminds me of that, where you're looping around a tower going up. It's different. Playing with perspective, especially in one of these 2D inspired games, is very clever, and I think it adds a lot to the experience. And that, did you catch that? Let me go back a little bit. Right here, we have what seem to be the health bars. Now, it's very interesting. They're not displayed in numbers, so I don't really know how that's going to work. Every other game in this series has had the BP and HP displayed with numbers. Well, except for Partners in Time. Partners in Time didn't have BP, but you get the point. This is interesting. I have no idea how it's... Is it really just going to be a meter, and then it lowers over time, and then BP is also a meter, and it lowers every time you use a bros attack? Very interesting. Also, here are coins, but we seem to have some sort of golden sparkly object that we're going to have to collect, I imagine. I have no idea what it unlocks, but it should be very interesting. Up here looks to me like a bros block, or at least some sort of modern interpretation of one. It looks like there are more ways to use bros moves in the in the actual world. That was always my principal complaint with some of the Mario and Luigi games. Most notably, I mean, Paper Jam had some okay bros attacks. Like some of them, I mean, not bros attacks. Sorry, Paper Jam did have good bros attacks. But what I mean is that Paper Jam had some pretty good bros abilities that you could use in the overworld. Whereas some of the other games, again, most notably Dream Team, had some. I still love Dream Team, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like there wasn't a lot of ways that you could really use bros moves in the overworld to interact with it. It kind of became a backseat to the rest of the game. But here, on the seesaw, it looks like there's actually going to be many more locations in which you can use more advanced bros moves to interact with the world. And again, I hate to endlessly harp on about it, but the water just looks so nice. Also, they've introduced new races for the first time since the Pilos and the Block people, or in the Shell Top, just really since Dream Team, because they didn't really introduce any new races after that. But yeah, new races and new towns for them to live in is definitely cool. Also, this is the second time that a Mario and Luigi game takes place on an island, because the first was Dream Team. Just wanted to point that out. And again, just more places to use Bros moves in the overworld is always welcome. And now here we meet what is, I imagine, is one of our main companions in this game. Hopefully, this stone individual, Connie, is a replacement for Starlo. I would really hope that. She appears in a lot of the trailer, so I imagine she is, and I would really, really hope that, because again, I do not like Starlo even slightly, so hopefully that's the case. And so that's what I imagine. From that line of dialogue, it would be nice if we could find a way to get you home from Connie. I imagine that that's the plot of the game, is Mario and Luigi trying to find their way back to the Mushroom Kingdom. Which is certainly interesting, because all of the other games in this series have simply been about trying to stop some sort of villain, whether that be in Tasma, Bowser, Fawful, the Shroobs, but it's never been about a personal journey, a personal odyssey, if you will. And so I think that this is definitely an interesting way to keep the story involved, because again, if one of the main complaints of Paper Jam was that the story was completely lacking in stakes and had unclear motives of the villains and the heroes, and a great way to supplement that is to have the story be not only a journey to stop a villain. I imagine there's going to be some sort of villain that the bros need to stop, but having it be a personal journey to get back home is, I mean, it's a done-before idea, but it's definitely new to the Mario and Luigi series. And this new save blocks with the gold outline, I swear, in the Mario RPGs, they're absolutely obsessed with highlighting every single save block, and healing block with some sort of outline. I don't really know why they do it, especially now that it has two outlines because of the art style, gold and black. They really, really want to make sure that you do not miss the save block, but well, either way. Now, I imagine this art style looks amazing, of course, and I really like the motion lines. Like I said, really adds to the 3D comic book aesthetic. But I imagine that these cannons will be your main source of fast travel throughout the game. It'll be similar to I'm trying to think of a game that uses island travel as a main mechanic. I mean, well, the obvious comparison is Wind Waker, but I was trying to think of something better. Maybe, I don't know, it almost feels like it's going to be world-based. Like, maybe it isn't quite, interconnected world, like it's more interconnected than Partners in Time, but maybe it isn't quite an interconnected world like in Superstar Saga or Dream Team. Perhaps it's more of a series of connected individual worlds that you access with cannons. That would be a little bit disappointing, because I always liked when the worlds had some sort of coherent aesthetic. But if we get unique towns with unique NPCs and new races, I think I'm okay with that. listening colors are just so beautiful. And new enemies too, yes. So here we get our first look at how the hammers work. And this is why I believe, from just how those hammers work, that that my original assumption about the jump attack is correct, and there's actually just more to all of them. I think that, because before in the series, you would just press one button to increase the power of your hammer, and one button, well, two, to increase the power of your jump attack, but here it feels like there's more, dynamicism to both of them, to make them both more involved, do more damage, and just more visually appealing in general. I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. And you get shock attacks for your hammer. Wow, that's really cool. Text also looks nice. So far the text in Dream Team, like the excellent text in Dream Team, has been my favorite. I have no idea why they got rid of it and Paper Jam and the remakes, like for the kind of low res. They replaced it with this realized simpler text, which I mean is fine, but like it doesn't look nearly as good as it did in Dream Team. But here looks excellent, and you even get shockwave damage for your hammer attack. Now I really hope that that is the regular hammer attack and not sort of Hammer Bros attack, because if so, the regular attacks just got so much more interesting. Also, oh no, never mind. It appears as though the health and BP is actually displayed in battle. It's just not displayed in the overworld for some reason, which is an interesting choice. This was never the case in all of the other games. They just displayed how much health you had in the overworld. I have no idea why they did this, because... well, because you could just heal. You do need to manage your health in the overworld. You don't want to go into battle at low health, so it just seems... I mean, you still do realize how much health you have relative to how much the meter is filled. It's just kind of an interesting choice. I've no idea why they did this one. Dodging is still just as great as ever, and it's even more expressive. Like, just they use a really good 3D squash and stretch to add to the animation. Really adds to the factor of the 3D comic book aesthetic I talked about. Just how much it looks like and yeah, here we get another one of the Bros overworld Bros moves, and this one is just so good. They could have brought back the Bros spin from now that I think about it, like almost pretty much every single game I think the Bros spin has been featured in. I think the only one it wasn't in is Paper Jam. Yeah, they could have just included that one again. It would have been perfectly fine, but no, they had to add this uniquely designed, very charming, almost flying saucer that I imagine you use to clear dangerous gaps like this lava here. Like I said, this game is just so charming. Like, they didn't have to do all of this. They could have just brought back the Bro spin, but the fact that they did just makes it so much better. I suppose this is a better time than ever to talk about the world theming. Just before we saw a lava world, and now and we've seen like all kinds of areas over the course of this trailer, but I just wanted to point out the fact that in most Mario and Luigi games, the locations, they were certainly good, but they were also just variations. Even in the very best of the series had to offer, they were just uniquely designed lava world, uniquely designed desert, like a uniquely designed forest. Like, they were those basic templates, but they had different ideas sprinkled on them. They were more, well, except for Paper Jam, all of the areas were unique interpretations of standard Mario areas. But here, if you look at that tower just now, like, this doesn't really look like anything. Like, this feels like something that you would see out of a Pokemon game. It looks incredible. Like, I can hardly even describe it in words. Like, just the fact that they're going in an entirely different direction on a very risky game. Like I said, if this game fails to sell enough copies, they're never making another one of these again. This high budget of a new game on the Switch was a very big risk that, in a sense, each Mario and Luigi game sold less well after Bowser's Inside Story. Each game sold less well, has been selling less well since 2009. This is a very big gambit, and it's just something that I find interesting. Definitely very interesting, to say the least. I honestly did not know that this. I did not expect this day to ever. This looks so good. As you can see here, there's a sort of not split screen but mini screen filter where you can operate the bros from different perspectives. I've always said this about the 3DS remakes of Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story, but they always said, oh no, we can't make Bowser's Inside Story on the Switch because there's too much use of like dual screens. And then I invoke this, and I was like, there could have been ways to make it work. Just because it had two screens did not mean it would have been impossible. They could have redesigned the UI to make it work on the Switch, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. All the advantages of dual screen, minus the actual need for two screens. Here, you get the ability to control one of the bros on the bottom screen and the other one on the top screen. It reminds me a lot of how Partners in Time did it, except obviously the DS has two screens. But definitely a very interesting idea. This looks to me like it's not a bros attack, it's a bridge repair thing, and I have no idea how it works, but it looks like you're going to get special abilities in the overworld to help, I don't know, like fix platforms and stuff like that. That's going to be really cool if there are bros attacks, well, bros adjacent attacks in the overworld to do stuff with the same amount of spectacle. But yeah, this just looks amazing. Like, I have no, like I said, they did not have to include this, but they did anyway. And, as you can see, they brought Peach back with the stone creatures earlier. New, character. I wonder if, this guy, Snoutwood, is going to be the new companion. Either way, in this entire trailer, no mention whatsoever of Starlo, so I'm still happy. Connie again. And Bowser. I'm interested about what role Bowser will play in this story, because, well, first, the obvious question is, how did he get here? This is an entirely different world. What is he doing in, whatever this kingdom is, the, island worlds, I guess. My, second question is, because Bowser has a very interesting role in these games. In, Superstar Saga, he's an ally who gets turned into an enemy after being possessed. In Partners in Time, he's really just a rival character. He's kind of just a nuisance who gets in the way, similar to his role in The Thousand Year Door. He's just kind of a roadblock to, I guess, differentiate the chapters a little bit. In Bowser's Inside Story, he's the main protagonist. Because he arguably has a much more involved role than Mario and Luigi even do in that game. It's a very interesting idea, and still the only time that Bowser has been the main protagonist in any game ever, at least to my knowledge. And in Dream Team and Paper Jam, he was the main villain, so I'm interested to see what kind of role he's going to play, since he doesn't really have any motive to keep Mario in this world, so I don't know, he could want literally anything. We don't even really know who he's shooting at in this case. So, very, I'll keep my eyes peeled for, what they do with him in this game. The other reason why I don't think that Bowser will be, the villain in this game, why I think he's going to have a different role, is because there are so many enemies that are not Bowser's minions. We haven't really seen any of Bowser's minions be the enemies in this game, which again is an interesting idea. It implies that there's going to be a different villain. I don't know if we've seen them yet, and I just missed it somewhere, but like I said, they could do literally anything. And the shell just, like, if the 3D red shell was a visually appealing improvement on the regular shell, then this is just this is miles above the original shell. Instead of just making it from the shell, but from a 3D perspective, there's an entirely new animation to it. Now, I will admit, if the shell is typically the lowest damage attack in the game. So if this is if there's an entire cutscene cinematic plays every single time I use the shell, that might get a little bit annoying. But apart from that, it looks incredible. I have nothing more to say really. And this last element, if I may go back. So yes, here we have the Mario and Luigi, the title sequence, obviously. But it appears as though, for the first time since Partners in Time, in fact, we seem to have a hub world, that being the ship that you travel on. So I ask again, is this going to be a Wind Waker adjacent game? Will you be able to travel on a ship across the islands? And if so, what is the purpose of the cannons? Is this ship even the hub world, or is it just one of the areas? Again, so many questions, but it's so interesting. Now, overall, that's about it with the trailer. It was very interesting, and I'm incredibly excited for this game. I am more excited for this game, probably, than I was for the Super Mario RPG remake and the Thousand Year Door remake combined. Because while both of those were incredible games, like incredible remakes of incredible games, I had played them both previously. So, and Thousand Year Door definitely I like more than Super Mario RPG, so that certainly left more of an impact on me. But this is an entirely new installment in a franchise that's been dead since 2019 and hasn't had an original game since 2015, and even then the original game was pretty bad. So, this is an incredible revival of a series long thought dead. With that being said, I really hope you enjoyed, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.